Episode 8 of the GroupUp podcast is about to begin. So why don't you grab a drink, grab some snacks and sit back and relax, because today we are joined by an amazing artist and content creator from Denmark. That is right, it is Innovates. Listen to us talk about how we think art and design contributes to video games, and how we feel about video games being made into movies. Once again, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the GroupUp podcast. We hope that you enjoy. It's time to begin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the GroupUp podcast. Joining me today is Innovates. How are you doing today, Innovates?
Yes, I just woke up.
Yes, we have completely different time zones. It is currently 20 past 6 p.m. here. And obviously it's morning for you.
20 past 10.
Yep,
it's
20
great.
past 10. It's like so weird. We always like complain about it in the Discord as well. It's just like everyone in Australia is just like going to sleep, and then you're like just waking up, and it's like, well, who do I talk to now? Like everyone's gone.
Yeah, and when like I'm just about to go to bed and people are like, good morning, I'm like,
Yeah.
Sure it is. Yeah, it's great.
It is very weird, but that's how the world works, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, and like where you're from as well, because somebody in the community didn't know where you were actually from, and yeah.
Well, apparently I'm from the UK, but actually I'm from Denmark. Yeah, so I'm a Danish art streamer, I guess, primarily. And I also play video games because, as we do. What else? I am a black belt in Taekwondo. I love cats, and I obsess over Avatar and have a wikia in my brain of Avatar just stuck in there, and it's great. And I only annoy my friends a little, but it's great.
A little.
Every stream I end up on a fucking Avatar tangent and I can't stop myself.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
No, it's good.
Fine.
I feel like Avatar is one of the better, shows out there. Like I really enjoy it myself.
Show.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I haven't seen much of the next one. What is that? Korra or something like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've only seen the first season of that, and I didn't mind it. But people say that the next season is pretty trash, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, season 2 is not. Season 2 is a mess. Like half of it has this really interesting political theme. Then there's two like very highly praised but also very controversial episodes. Okay. And then the other half of the season never brings out like the political themes of the first half, and it's just like, what happened?
Fair enough.
So it's a mess, but if you make it through that, like the 2 next seasons are great. So if you ever decide to give it another try, I think
I might give it another go. Yeah. So you said
it's good.
You said you're a black belt in, what was it, Taekwondo or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that about you. Like how long did you do that for?
Well, I've done it for 10 years. I'm kind of like in between getting back into it, but I got my black belt I think after 5 or 6 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't tell a lot of people.
No, like I had no idea that.
Yeah, it just doesn't really come up naturally, so I don't always bring it up. But I feel like it's a part of me, and I like it. I'm proud of that. I have all my belts like off to the side here, hanging on my wall.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I think I used to want to do some kind of defense thing, not so much like karate or anything like that, but more like self-defense and all that kind of stuff, but I never really got into it, but maybe someday.
Yeah, I mean, it's never too late to get into. We have a lot of like adults who start Taekwondo as well, and it's really fun, and we're always really supportive. Like I'm pretty sure any martial arts like club will be super supportive of anyone who comes in, because that's just kind of the community that is there, and like there's a lot of respect and such. So
that's cool. How did you come up with the name Innovates?
Okay, sorry, you cut out, so I didn't hear that.
That's all right.
So the name Innovates is not something I came up with. Back when I was a little babe, a little tiny child, I had to make a Steam account for myself instead of just using my brother's. And I was like, I don't know what to call it. And my brother was like, well, what kind of games do you like? And I listed like a few different games, and my brother was like, well, you can use this name, and then I changed the S to a Z, and that's my name.
Fair enough.
It's not very interesting, but yeah.
Easy as
would
that.
think that there's some and like I never knew how I would pronounce it until like actually like when I started like getting into Twitch and I watched a streamer pronounce it Innovates and said that was a cool name. I was like, okay, I guess that's how we pronounce it now. So that's that.
No, that's pretty cool. Yeah. No, I don't know. I haven't really actually asked that question to many other people, so I might start doing that actually and see what their answers are, because it's kind of like interesting how people come across their name. How did you get into streaming?
Yeah, definitely. How did I get into streaming? God, I don't know. I think I just like been interested in streaming. I've seen a lot of people doing streams and such, and I thought it would be a fun way to like be able to do art and also like be able to talk to people at the same time and have that engagement. I've always really liked the idea of building communities and being like having that. So I thought that was a fun way to do it. And and I found that streaming really helps me like actually sit down and dedicate hours to just doing art. And I've actually finished a lot more art since I started streaming, you know. Maybe contradictory to a lot of art streamers out there who just end up doing like 3 lines during like the 8 hours they stream or whatever. But yeah, we're all different. That's fine.
No, I definitely understand that. I think I've done a couple of art streams in the past, and it's just like, you know, when I do art, I normally like get like the sketches and stuff done, and then it's like, like I really can't be bothered like with it, or it's just like, oh, that looks real shit. Like, why should I continue doing that? Whereas like art streams, it's just like you can't really stop. You can't be like, oh, this is this is shit. Like, start something new. Like,
exactly. There's like a group of people holding you accountable, expecting you to just like do something while you're streaming, and I can't just be like, I hate this, and just throw around and be like, okay, end of stream. So I have to work around things.
That's exactly right. So talking. No, continue. Sorry, there's a delay, so it's gonna stuff us up.
I will say though that my last stream, I did end up just talking a lot and not doing a lot of work, but it's fine. Fair. It happens, and I'll accept it. Yeah.
So talking about your art, what kind of style is your art actually? And do you want to talk about it a bit?
Well, I feel like I have a style I can't really like specify, because I do like, when I do fan art, I do like more like just stylized, like semi-realistic art. But then I also do stuff like as in the background. I don't know how visible it's gonna be, but
you can see it. Yeah,
I can bring it closer.
Just waiting for it to fall over.
But yeah, it's like a little more abstract and oh, don't fall over, please. But yeah, sometimes I'll do like more abstract, more free art with just like a basic concept, and then I just go ham, and then but then other times I do like a lot of fan art, and there I tend to be more structured and such. It's
that's pretty cool. So what kind of like paint do you use? Because I saw that you use like water paint or something.
I use watercolor mostly. Sometimes I'll use some acrylic, and I want to get back into doing acrylic again, but mostly just watercolor.
Okay. What kind of like got you interested in working with watercolor? over like anything else?
I think when I first got into it, I was watching like, oh, what's his name? I think his name is like Mark Crilly on YouTube. He's like one of the OG YouTube artists, and I watched him like throughout all my childhood. And he would often color his works with like mixed media, but always with starting with watercolor. And I think that's where I first got interested in watercolor.
Okay.
And then I think from that, it's just like watching artists like Agnes Sessa, who I've friend of in the background, watching her video, because she also makes like speed paint videos on YouTube, and watching her videos and the kind of expression she could get from watercolor really inspired me to like continue down that. And yeah.
No, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So how long have you been doing art for then?
Since I could hold a pencil. Like, I never know how to answer that question. I guess
that's fair.
I've always wanted to draw. Like as a child, I would like with a needle scratch little drawings into the furniture. I was a terrible child. I would draw on the walls, and I would like. I remember one time my dad had just like put down like tile flooring, and I had taken a pen and just like drawn lines throughout like in the between every tile, and it was a mess, and he was very mad. So I've always drawn for better or for worse.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but I'd say I've done it like semi-seriously for like, let's say 4 or 5 years.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I know that. I was pretty similar when I was growing up as well. Like when I was a kid, I always enjoyed doing drawings and stuff. And I think I've still got like folders and folders of just like. I did more just like upscaling. Like I never was that creative kid that was able to, be able to draw their own thing. It was always like seeing this small, like tiny image in a book or whatever, and then upscaling that into like an A4 size or whatever, and coloring it in, doing background, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It was mostly like Pokemon and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
Yeah. And then a lot
of people drew Pokemon.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like got out of it. During school and stuff, and then I was in college, I think it was, or year 10 or something, and went back and got into or tried to do art, and just like the teachers that were there were just like, I feel like they were a little bit stuck up and held their nose up real high and all this kind of stuff, and like if it was something that they didn't like, then it wasn't like considered good art kind of thing. Whereas I feel like, how can you really fail art when it's just like, everyone has their own point of view on like drawing and creating, I suppose. It's kind of a little bit weird, but oh well. Yeah,
it makes more sense when there's like a theoretical part to your art classes, which I had in high school, obviously. There was like actual, theory and such, but if it's just drawing, how do you grade that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not fair to grade that.
Yeah, I think actually that reminds me, there was we had to draw what was it? So we had to draw like something that you would see in the streets or something like that, and then they were going to put it on, they were going to cut it out and put it on a wall and make like a street out of it, kind of. It was like a bit weird, but anyway, like people were doing like fire hydrants and like light poles or whatever and all that kind of stuff, and I decided to do graffiti because like I could literally do whatever the hell I wanted then.
No, that's cool. And you can see that on the streets, it's valid.
Yeah, exactly. So I did like this dude that was wearing a gas mask, and he had his fists out or something, and then on one side it said game and on the other side it said over, so it was like game over. And it had like a tank or something underneath, because I didn't want to draw like his body or anything like that.
Yeah, no, nightmare.
And I took it to the teacher, and she's like, "Is this all your own design?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, like it's like my own graffiti." And she's like, "This doesn't seem like an original design or anything." And I'm like, "Okay." And anyway, I think I got like a a C or a B or something on there because she said that my work wasn't original or some shit, and I'm like, what the hell, woman? Like, like I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to find this on Google Images anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's not great.
No,
You can't grade people just because, like, of your opinion.
yeah, exactly. Like the only thing there that she probably could have got from it was probably like the gas mask or something, which I think I did use references on that, but you know, it's a gas mask. Like,
okay. So here's going off of that, just the whole like references as cheating needs to die. It needs to fucking die.
Yeah.
Because references are so important. I've found that the better you get at art, the more you rely on references, because I can't do things without reference. I need to see how light hits things. I need to see how like body structure works in specific position. Like reference is so important.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
No, yeah.
I would have definitely made that argument.
Yeah, no, if anyone's out there like trying to draw and they're like, oh, I can't use reference because it's cheating and it's not my own art, just drop that. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it's just for practice, just like if you straight up just draw exactly what's there just to practice, that's cool. And if you like have a picture or a post or something you really like and you use that as reference, that's super cool as well. Just like take that and make it your own.
Yeah, don't like blatantly copy it or anything. Like, you know, put your own little spin on it.
I mean, and definitely, and even like copying can be fine as long as it's for your own practice. Like, don't go out and be like, look at my art, I created this, I'm so original. You can post it, just be like sure to say that like, hey, this was for practice and I used this and this as reference. Yeah,
I think that's definitely what my when I did graphic design last year, like my graphic design teacher was like so much better. Like far out, he like he was better than these art teachers, and he's just like you know, if you want to do like a logo in like this kind of design or whatever, like go and find references, like go find a page full of references and put it down in your work, and you know, make sure that all that's there and, you know, referenced and everything, and then go from there and just make it your own. Like, like, I find it hard that people like me, I suppose, definitely find it hard just to instantly be like, I'm gonna like draw this and then draw it up without even like looking up anything, whereas just like I really have to like look at references and that kind of stuff first. So
yeah. No, I have a terrible visual memory, so I rely so heavily on like I remember that Apple test thing that went around on the internet where it was like picture an apple and then there were like the different pictures of how you see an apple in your head.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm on the very low end where I can't see shit in my head.
Yeah.
I have no like visual memory or anything, so I need references and I rely heavily on it, and I am proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be, at least, because there's a lot of elitism in art communities and I don't like it.
Oh goodness. But yeah, just like at the end of the day, I feel like you're allowed to have references and stuff, but just don't copy somebody else's work. Just But yeah.
At least just don't steal someone's art.
Yeah.
And be transparent about it. That's all.
Yeah.
Just give credit.
That's it. Yeah, definitely. Not so much like the graphics in a game, but more of like the art style. So just like for reference, these kind of games, we got Borderlands, like that kind of like art, sketchy style. We can even talk about like digitalized. Sorry, my English isn't too great at the moment. But yeah, like digitalized stuff.
Language, so.
So stuff like I don't know if you ever saw Mortal Kombat. That's pretty much where it came from, where they put like a real person inside the video game kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So we can even talk about that if you want. Like 8-bit, struggling with English again, and pixel art, so like Space Invaders, Mario, all that kind of like old school kind of stuff if you want to talk about that. And then if you have any like games yourself that you have really enjoyed because of the art style.
Yeah. Well, I think obviously like the art style and such it's obviously one of the first things you see about a game. Like if you cannot undeniably you are affected by how a game looks in some way or another, because the art style will tell you a lot about like you can tell a lot. Like for example, Borderlands, you can tell just from the art style that it's like kind of going off that cartoony vibe, and it's a little silly, but like still like realistic and kind of like slightly gritty. Yeah. You can tell that just from the art style. It says so much about the game. Similarly to how, for example, I think Life is Strange has this like sketchy, dreamy kind of vibe to it, which very much like fits again the themes of the story. So I think like art style is integral to a game, because it's the thing that will draw people in, and whether that's just, again, as you said, like pixel art and such, a lot of like there's a huge market for that. Pixel art is incredibly interesting and amazing, and I don't understand pixels. But that's so like you can do so much with that, and if you're going for that sort of like old school, simple looking game with a lot of depth, like that also is telling from the art style. Yeah. I don't know if I'm rambling.
No, that's fine. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I can definitely like agree with that. Like the art style is definitely something that you come across pretty much first in any game. Like it comes before the story, it comes before the characters, before the arc, literally before anything. It's the first thing that you see on the start screen, pretty much. And I don't know of any games from the top of my head that had like one art style and then changed to like a different art style or anything. I don't know if you can think of any, but from memory, like I can't really think of.
I feel like I need to look at the games I own.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of people are interested in different art styles. Like obviously there's a lot of people that love the pixel art. I enjoy it myself as well. And it's just, like simple games kind of thing as well.
Yeah. I feel like I think maybe I don't know if it's a trend, but I feel like as some games have like, or as computer graphics and such have gotten better and we've been able to like make super realistic game, there's also like simultaneously this like push for just super stylized games, and I feel like that's why we're seeing such a resurgence of pixel art, because it's just like also to show that anyone can make a game. You don't need super hyper realistic graphics and high-end computers. You can make a really impactful game with very, very little.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. A lot of pixel games you mostly see, we have the convention PAX Australia over here, and you see a lot of pixelized games in the I can't remember what it's called now, but just like the new like game developers and stuff are able to show off their games who aren't with the big companies or anything. Like they've just like made this little game by themselves or a couple of other people with them, and they're able to show that off. And there's like a lot of cool like pixel art or like other art styles as well in there, but it's mostly like pixel art and stuff, because that's kind of what's easiest to do when you're first starting off. And games like, I don't know if you've seen, there's the new game, it's not really new, but it's kind of pretty popular at the moment, called Stream Raiders or something like that. I've been playing it like crazy lately. It's absolutely like it's super addictive. And yeah, it's pretty much just the streamer has like goes into like this pixelated map, puts down their like warrior. It could be like a wizard or a monk or like a warrior or anything, and then other people in the stream have their own like units that they can put down as well, like every 5 minutes. And then after 30 minutes, I think it is, you're able to attack like a group of like skeletons or goblins or something like that. And it's just like a cool way to interact with like your community as well. But I've really been enjoying it. It's like super really addictive.
Yeah, no, that seems really cool.
And it's all like 8-bit like pixelated stuff. Like it's nothing fancy or anything as well. And yeah, it's like a really good game.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Yeah.
And recently I watched on Netflix, geez, what was that called? High Score, I think it was called. Posted something about it on Twitter. And it goes through not so much like the newer age kind of stuff. It kind of goes back to like, you know, Tetris, the start of like Mario, SNES, and all that kind of stuff. And they go more in depth with that though. Like they talk about they get like old champions, like people that have won competitions with like there was a person on there that won a competition in Tetris or something. Person that won a competition with Nintendo. And yeah, there's just like a lot that goes into it. And they brought up I believe he was Japanese from memory. Apologies if that's wrong, but he was a art stylist that did the first like art for what's that game called? Final Fantasy, I think it's called, for the first like Final Fantasy games. And he drew like these awesome like monsters and stuff, because they said, you know, like you're able to create like these crazy monsters and all that kind of stuff. Like he was able to use his imagination however he wanted, drew up these awesome like paintings and stuff, and they look super awesome and like amazing. And then they put into the game and it's literally just pixelated like little things, and it just like doesn't look anything like it.
Imagine spending all that time and energy like creating all these like nitty gritty details, and then it's just like, here's the box.
But I think he said in the interview that he's like, it wasn't like anything that he expected, but in their own way they're still like cute and funny and different, and that's what he liked about it, and he still enjoyed it. And even some of his creations that he's like made in the past are still being like put into like the newer games and stuff, and like he's able to see like with the better graphics and stuff how like more realistic and cool they are. And yeah, it's like really awesome to like see that.
So satisfying with the remakes to finally like get those proper models.
Yeah. But I don't know, it was just like really funny that he was just like showing off like his like old sketches and stuff, and then it just like plop, there's like a couple of like pixels of just like what it looks like.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
Oh goodness me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so unfortunately we had a little bit of connection issues at this point, but this gives me a great opportunity to cut the podcast in half and talk about the amazing energy drink called Quantum. That is right. If you go over to the Quantum store right now and get yourself one of the flavors and use code GroupUp, you can get 10% off your purchase. That is right, 10% off your purchase no matter what you buy in the store. That is an amazing deal from Quantum. Thank you very much for listening to this little announcement. We're going to get right back in to the podcast now. Oh goodness, please don't jinx it.
That'd be perfect. Please. Oh, knock on wood.
All right, let's get back into it. So
It's only been a few hours.
we had a bit of issues there. I do apologize. But through the power of editing, it's as if nothing ever happened.
It's the exact same day. Nothing happened. This is the exact same day.
Exactly. No, we had some
Yeah.
issues with my internet. It cut out the podcast about halfway through, and we weren't able to do anything on Discord. We tried so many different things, and my internet just didn't agree with us, unfortunately.
It's rough being in Europe.
But we're back finally, and hopefully we'll be able to finish the podcast before my internet stuffs up again. So we're currently in a Zoom call, which we figured out actually works, compared to Discord, which just my internet was non-existent at all.
It's so weird.
But yeah. So I think we were last talking about how do you think art and design contributes to like video games, and I know that we covered a fair bit of that, but just to be safe, I don't want to go back into that topic just in case we start repeating things that we've already said, because I've already forgotten what we said.
I say things and forget it immediately.
Exactly. So I think we might jump into the next question.
Yeah. Well, I feel like having a sort of identity that people can remember is going to help in some way, because people will remember you more easily if they have something that like sticks out in their mind. But as someone who has entirely inconsistent branding, I guess you can also just do without it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's also like, for example, I brand myself as an art channel, and I primarily, like, for the majority of the time I've been on Twitch, I've only done art, like almost only done art streams, and no one cared about video games. But I feel like at least starting out with some sort of consistent branding might be the best shot, and then lure them in and let them like get to know your personality, and then you can mess with them.
Okay. Yep.
That's probably, but I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I can. Just trying to think. Like, my branding is pretty simple, just because it's like Australia and it's a dragon, so it's like, you know, two pretty simple things to get along. But I struggled with like a logo or a design, like templates and all that kind of stuff for quite a while. When I was doing, you know, like YouTube, I started off doing YouTube videos, and they were like absolutely trash. And I think I had like a logo that somebody, like a fan, like drew me or something, that was just like a photo, like a drawing or a sketch up of me with like dragon wings. And so I was using that for a little bit, and then I don't know, I think I got like found like some logo templates or something like that, but then I finally managed to get somebody to do my current logo, which is obviously like the dragon with its wings spread out and the Australian flag like in its wings. So
yeah,
and even then it took some time to find somebody that had like that style that I liked and wanted to like be what represents me. And it was through one of my friends who I'm not so close to anymore, but you know, he's still like a mate of mine that I see at like conventions and stuff. And through him, he had like a mate that, you know, did art and like digital art and stuff on the side, and I really like enjoyed his work. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can pay you, I don't remember how much it was, I think it was more than like $40 or $50. And I'm like, I need this like logo done, I'm wanting to put it on like shirts and stuff, so can you get it done within a certain amount of time? And he's like, I can give him my best go, but like I've got full-time work and stuff, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, cool, yep, we'll just, work on it. And he took probably double amount of time that I wanted it, which was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, no, that's...
So this was probably like, it was like months. It was like months, and this is just to do like one logo. Whereas like you look at people who, one of my favorite creators is Young Khan. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's an amazing motes artist and logo design and stuff he does on Twitch.
Yeah.
And like he can pump out like 15 emotes in like a day if he like really wanted to just like get down into his work. So I don't know, it's more about like time management, and I know that dude had like full-time work and stuff outside of work as well, but I feel like I think it was something like 6-7 months like down the track, and I was constantly like trying, but I'll be honest, I kind of like was just like, mate, are you still working on the project? Like, what's going on? Because like you never give me any updates or anything. And I'm like people are still wanting it on shirts and stuff. And by the time they did finish, no, I don't believe anybody actually got a shirt in the end. just because it took so long. But
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I wanted that story kind of to spiral into like paying artists, and that for your for God, I forgot what I was gonna say now. For your branding, like your identity.
Yes.
And so you'd obviously like know a bit about that, because obviously you do work, and
well, I've not done much for, like, I have in the past done like logos and such for other people, which was digital art, which I don't do much anymore. And it didn't, like, it felt like this client was asking me to like bend my style to fit what he wanted, rather than just like come to me for what I do. So I'd say like the most important thing is find someone who actually like first of all, find artists who have the style that you want your like branding to be, because it's the same with, as we talked about with the like art style of a game. The logo is something you like will inevitably associate with like the brand overall. So that is like, it's not as important as a game's art style, but it's still important in like recognizability. That's a word now, I don't think. I don't know.
It's now.
English, it's not my first language, I don't know. But so if, like, first of all, just find an artist that, like, because it feels so disheartening as an artist when you get a client and it seems like they just want you to make something that isn't what you like actually like making. If that makes sense.
When I did my logo, it was like I said, I liked his art style and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, this is like the dude that I want to get to do mine. And I don't, like, apart from me pestering him every fortnight or whatever it was, I think the only thing that I really wanted to change was like, he drew up sketches and stuff when I eventually asked him, and like all the stuff that he did was fine, and he got into it, and he was like kind of almost complete, and I'm like, would you be able to add just like some like more hands at the front, like, so, or feet, sorry, so it's got like 4 feet, but because it was like standing up, the arms was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, like if I put like more feet in, then it's gonna like look really weird. And I'm like, just can you try it? Because like dragons are supposed to have 4 feet, and if it only has like two, then it's not really dragon, it's a wyvern. So um so anyway, he added the feet, and I was like, yeah, no, that's like perfect. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like I, I don't know. It's not like I was mm, forcing him to like change like his design or
No.
anything like that. It was just like me saying like, this is kind of what I was imagining. Would you just be able to do like a quick sketch? It doesn't even have to be anything. Like just draw some arms on it or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was perfect, like what I wanted.
Yeah, I feel like working as an artist is a lot of like talking with the like
Mm,
your client or your customer, whatever,
mhm.
because you have you only have what they've like said that they want, but once that starts coming together, they might have a better like they might not have a perfect visual idea of what they want. So
Yeah.
once you get started, they might be able to like better like critique that and say, oh, I this is what I meant, and I meant more in this style and such.
Hmm.
um Also, like I recently did a portrait of someone's cat where like I thought I had like finished the sketch, and I showed it, and she was like, it's not super recognizable, can you change this and this? And it's like, obviously I didn't live with this cat, I only have some pictures,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
obviously I have to adjust to like what
Yeah.
she wants, because like,
Hmm.
but as long as it's like still for me, like I'm not, if someone comes to me and it's like, hey, can you make this like super digital high effect stuff, I'm like, I can't do that, that's not what I why are you here, why are you asking me? I can
Yeah.
list you other artists if you want, but
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
like I feel there's been times where people come to me for graphic design and I can't.
Yeah.
I've
No,
done it
that's
for
fair.
myself, that's about it.
Yep. No, I feel like each artist obviously has their own way of like their own design and stuff, and their own, like you're doing it with like your watercolor paints and stuff, which is like your speciality, whereas like other people are more like digital artists, or
Mhm.
just like normal paint, or pencils and pens and all that kind of stuff. So it
Yeah.
it all just comes down to like what kind of style you want, and then finding like an artist that does what you like, I suppose. And really, it's the
Yeah.
same as like choosing a tattoo. You're not going to go to an artist that
Definitely.
is just like does a completely different style to what you're wanting, because
Mhm.
really with like a tattoo, it's permanent, really. So you want to like pick like the best person to like represent like what you want on your body. And it should be the same
Yeah.
with like your branding. You want to choose somebody that best suits what you're looking for. So mm,
Exactly.
yeah.
Find someone who like whose style and general energy or whatever you want to call it
Hmm.
like fits your vision, because
Yeah.
otherwise you just both parts are going to be like dissatisfied.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. um yeah, I feel like also having that kind of like brand and logo and all that kind of stuff obviously like gives you uh it's more recognizable as well, because I feel like especially with like online and stuff, if you don't have like a face cam or something like that, or maybe you just follow somebody on social media, which I've had, and you don't really know what that person looks like. If you go to a convention, and this happened with a bloke of mine, a good mate of mine, Hyperstrike, and we walked up to him, and my friend who was introducing me was just like, ta-da, and the bloke's like, so who's this? Like, didn't know who, like, what I look like or anything. Like, we pretty much only follow each other on social media and like each other's posts and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, yeah, so like, who's this? And then my friend's like, this is Ozdragon, and he's like, oh my god, and then just gives me like a huge bear hug, lifts me up in the air, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like having that
Oh,
like
that's
instant recognition of like who you are is just like more satisfying, I find. And people at conventions and stuff hand
probably
out they hand out like stickers or cards and stuff, which is more recognizable as well, I suppose. So it might be like somebody that you've been following online, and all of a sudden you're just like talking to that person, and then they just like, oh, this is me, and then you look at the card, and I'm like, I'm already following you on social media, like, and I had no idea that this was you, but hi.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the only convention experience I have was BlizzCon, and there were not a lot of people who know me. But it was funny because there were a lot of cosplayers, and just like I I'm still so upset about it because I walked right past the voice actor for Sombra, but she was in
Oh.
cosplay, so I didn't immediately recognize her. And I was like, is
Oh.
that, it kind of looks like it could be, but I don't want to walk up to her because I have anxiety and I'm scared. So I just didn't. And now I look back, I've seen pictures of her from that BlizzCon, and I'm just like, fuck.
I was this close.
I'm so mad. Yeah. So even then, like, even if you have a well-known face, you might not be recognized.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely. I definitely feel that as well. Like uh, with like people that I've wanted to meet at like conventions and stuff. I'm always like looking out for them, and I could literally just like walk straight past them without like even realizing it. To be honest, but yeah, I don't know. That's like a completely different kind of thing, I suppose. But
Yeah.
um, also just quickly before we go on to the next question, I wanted to talk about like so we talked about like being recognized and stuff. So I want to talk about obviously like having a brand and uh like something to be recognized by. I feel like that
Mhm.
is probably an easier way to grow, maybe, perhaps. I don't know.
I think having like I think putting your face out there is going to be easier for people to connect with because it's obviously easier to connect to someone whose like facial expressions you can see and whose voice you can hear. Like that is always going to help
Mm-hmm.
because they can see who you are and they can see how you react to things they say, and that's like you show a lot more personality that way. So people like if you are going to build a brand around, like for example in streaming or a lot of YouTube content and such, it
Yep.
is like I don't know what a big percent, like how much of a percentage, but like it is a lot on your personality and you as a person. It's
So,
late for you, I'm sorry.
it's fine.
um
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so like the more you get to show of that, the more people will be able to connect with that. So I think that is going to help, but it's not a requirement necessarily. I think it's
Yeah.
just it's gonna help.
Yeah. 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 And like you said, you yourself don't have like a logo or like a character or anything that like represents who you are. It's pretty much just you, like your art and your face. And
Yeah.
you know, uh, I don't know if it would be different if somebody like without a webcam or something, or somebody that had like this massive like big brand, like recognizable kind of thing would like grow any faster. Yeah, I don't really know, but I understand where people want to like have that kind of, this represents me, because like I'm obviously, I don't want to put my face out there. I hate like seeing my face on things. So what I want to be recognized for is like my like gamer tag, which is Ozdragon. So everything is, like an Australian dragon pretty much. So yeah, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yeah.
understand like why people want to have like a actual like brand behind them.
Yeah. And like I understand, like I follow an artist on Twitch who never has face cam on and like she streams both with mic and without mic, but like regularly on a regular basis without mic even.
Yep.
And she has a like solid viewer base. So it's absolutely possible if you're not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It just might be like it might take more time for people to connect or like make that connection and such, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like if the content is good, people are definitely like gonna tune in, because you just like thinking back to like old YouTubers that I watch, like some of them didn't even have face cams. Like I'm talking about, like, you probably wouldn't recognize some of these people, but there was a bloke called Frankie on PC who did amazing like stories within video games that were like online, so like stuff like DayZ and like survival games and stuff, and he'd create like an environment where he was like surviving the zombie apocalypse or whatever, and comes across characters online and talks to them and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Then we got like people like Soviet Womble, who's amazing content, funny content creator. And who was I just thinking about? I think CYR Speedy also didn't have a camera for some videos. I can't remember, but he's like also like a good content creator on YouTube. And I feel like when they, because Soviet Womble and Speedy also stream now, and when they like moved from like YouTube, I mean they're still doing like YouTube, but when they came to like Twitch, a lot of their like fan base and stuff came from YouTube onto Twitch, just because their content was like, you know, so good. So people, you know, were like, oh hell yeah, like we want more. So yeah. I feel like if the content's good, the people will come. Yeah.
Absolutely. It depends a lot, because again, it depends on what you build your brand on. For an artist, people are going to connect to your art style primarily.
Yeah.
If you're a really good gamer or you make really good, like really funny videos, people are going to connect to those.
Yeah.
But if you build your brand on your personality, then you need to be able to show your personality. So it is more of like like consider what kind of brand you want to make and what kind of content you want to put out, and then like consider what will best like help show that. Yeah,
most definitely. I feel like some streamers kind of struggle with that. Like they feel like they've, you know, some streamers even like put hundreds of dollars in with like branding and stuff, and are like, well, you know, I've done all this work, I've got all these cool overlays, got the cool logo, like, you know, panels and stuff, and it's like really awesome, all this kind of stuff, and they've only got like a few hundred followers, and they're like, well, you know, how am I like not getting any more than like 5 viewers a stream and all this kind of stuff, blah blah blah. And I see it constantly on Twitter, them just like complaining about it, and I feel like, not to be rude, but you like kind of tune into those kind of people, and it's just like they're not being very interactive, they're not being funny, they're just, you know, being plain and boring. And I feel like if you want people to be interested, you have to be interesting. That's it. Like if you're just there and not even talking, like say, even if there's nobody in, I always say if there's nobody in your stream, just still talk to the camera. Like you have to be constantly talking, especially when you're playing video games. Just talk about like what's happening in the video game, or have somebody in your friends group come play video games with you, so you're talking to somebody else. Because I feel like if somebody is to come into your stream and you're not talking, they're gonna leave, compared to if you're talking, they're more than likely going to stay and try and spark conversation with you. So yeah.
I feel like playing, like especially for gaming content, I feel like if you're uncomfortable, start out with a friend, because then you have someone to bounce off, and that's a lot easier than just learning to talk on your own. Like I can't talk on my own, but I am an art streamer, so it's okay if I go quiet once in a while.
That's
Um,
it. Like you've got that you've got that content there. You've got that art there, so it's fine.
I don't know how to commentate my own art making, so I rely on chat for that. But then they come to watch my art, so it balances out. But I feel like for gaming, no, you have to be able to like commentate on your own gaming. Like otherwise, they could watch anyone.
Yeah, exactly. They could go to like a more popular streamer that is like more funny and stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like at the end of it, like it doesn't matter how much you spend like creating a brand for yourself, you still have to provide the content for the people.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. That should come before any branding. Your branding does not matter before you actually know what you're making.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta, find something that you're comfortable with and stick with it, really.
And you can change your branding, so it doesn't matter. Just like get some simple, basic shit, and then work off of that.
Yeah, that's it. Or TV shows.
Or TV shows.
Or TV shows.
Recent example, The Witcher, huge success, great show, love it, 10 out of 10, would watch it again, have watched it twice.
Is that just because Henry Cavill, or?
No. I mean, I remember there was so much like controversy when he was picked as the actor. Someone I follow was like, no, this Danish actor would have been a lot better. Why is it this guy? And watching the end product, like even back then, I like looked at Henry Cavill and I was like, nah, he seems like he could fit the role. And then watching the show, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like at first, like a friend and I both were like, did they dub over him? Or like, what the hell? He's perfect. He does such a good job. So
yes,
like,
like soothing, like deep voice as well. It's so good. Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
I know that there was like a lot of... I feel like people on the internet just like love to judge. Like when the first like images came out of him with like... I think there was like one with Roach or him with like one sword on his back, and people were like, no, well, Witcher has two swords. It's got one silver and one normal one to kill monsters and to kill humans. What are you doing? This is gonna be so shit. And then people that read the books were like, well, no, it's gonna be more based on the books, not the games, because in the books he actually has his silver sword with Roach most of the time and doesn't really use it unless he's going up against monsters. So blah blah blah. And then there was like a huge controversial thing going on about that, and like it just, I don't know. People just like to complain.
I'll say this mostly in jest, but God, gamers are awful. So nitpicky and like demanding, and just God, it's awful.
Yeah.
But no, I think video games as movies is a hit or miss. I think Witcher hit, like deciding, like choosing to go with a series for that instead was the exact right choice, because that more episodic kind of style works so much better. You can flesh out the story a lot more, and you can build the characters a lot more than, because while movies can build characters in that time, you don't have the same luxury of really telling a story without characters you do in a show.
Yeah.
Where they really develop and such, where in a movie it's mostly just like, okay, they start here and they end here. Yeah. Where in a series it's more...
Yeah.
It's not as linear.
Yeah, because they've only got like, what is it, like 90 minutes roughly in a movie to like fit everything in. Whereas like a TV series, like one episode of The Witcher goes for like an hour. So that already like takes up most of like what a movie length really is. So you've got all this like time to spread out, like, the storyline, the characters, and all the development in between. So it's like, I feel like it's nicer.
Yeah. I remember, just like a little tangent, as a child, growing up on like 20-minute cartoon episodes and then watching like actual like adult-ish series and such, and be like, oh my God, it's like a mini movie. I didn't realize. And I would feel silly thinking that, because that's every show. And I was like, no, it's this amazing show that's like mini movies. No. I was just a child. But yeah, no, that being said, there's been, I can't, I guess in terms of video game movies, I guess, I don't know if you'd say like the Pokemon movie was really a video game movie because that's so many things at this point.
Did the TV series come out before the game? I can't remember.
I was never super into Pokemon, so no,
No.
now I'm gonna get hate. It's great.
I mean, everyone has their own, like, I don't know. I can't remember where I was going from that, but yeah.
I was obsessing over Avatar, didn't have time for it.
Yeah, just say that. No, but I feel like because Pokemon has just like a huge gaming franchise as well as like animated, we can talk about that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a hard because that had a lot of like that already had a lot of different identities. And again, I don't know how much I can even talk on it because again, I watched Pokemon. I have no memory of it, and I never played any of the games, so I can't say how much it actually relates to anything. I had a bunch of Pokemon cards that I inherited from someone, and that's my only relationship to it. But
Fair.
um, but I will say something I can talk on though is the Warcraft movie.
Yes.
And oh boy,
because you love World of Warcraft.
Only a little. I've only been addicted for
my whole life.
A while. Not my entire life. I just, it was a game that, like, in my childhood, my brother played it. And so I grew up with it. And then when I was old enough to actually have, like, brain power to play a video game that isn't for children, I also got addicted to it. And it's great. He stopped playing it. I took over his account and I haven't looked back ever since.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was more of a RuneScape player, so I didn't really get into the World of Warcraft. And coming from an outsider that hasn't played World of Warcraft and watching the Warcraft movie, which has that Australian actor, I can't remember the freaking name of it, Travis or someone. Anyway, he's from Vikings, and coming like not playing the games at all and watching that movie. I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Like I was pretty much like on the fence of it. Where I know it got a lot of shit from the people that actually played the game. But
I got so much shit. I will say, as a fan of the game, it's a fine movie. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't hurt the video game. It's not a good. It's objectively not a great movie, but it's enjoyable. And if you shut off your brain and don't think too much about literally all the changes that they made for no apparent reason and then it's fine. It's a fun, it's a fun movie, and it does just show some of the basic lore. And it was fun being the only, I went with a group of my friends, and it was fun being the only 4 women in that movie. I think we actually were. That wasn't the joke.
Oh, really? Okay.
But yeah.
Did you go like a midnight screening or something where everyone was dressed up as World of Warcraft characters?
Or no. But I did paint the horde symbol in my forehead because I thought that would be cool, and then I realized that my friends play Alliance. So I was very popular that day. It's fine.
For people listening that do play the World of Warcraft game, I obviously have no idea about any of the characters or lore, or all I know is Horde and Alliance, and that there's a huge clash between those. That's all I know. So what was drastically changed between the game and the movie, and what do you feel could have been portrayed better?
It's been a while since I've seen it, I'll admit, but I know that I appreciate because it took they had been thinking about making the movie for a long time, and I do appreciate that they shut down a bunch of scripts that were very alliance focused, because this is like it's a war, and there's always two sides to a war.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides usually think they're in the right. There's no one who starts a war because they're evil and we want to be evil. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's always, like, they will always think that they're on the right as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, there were a lot of I think a lot of the controversy came with Garona, like the half orc character, because she was like, one of the big changes they, for example, made with her was in the lore of the game, she's half Draenei, this space goat race, and half orc, and that makes sense because the orc, like the Draenei, in it basically like crash landed on, I guess, I don't know, crash landed on like the orc planet, and so that makes sense. She came out of like some nasty stuff. But in the movie, they made her half human, and I don't even think they really explained why. Yeah. I think it was just to make her more relatable to a human audience. I don't know. It's kind of stupid. Yeah, okay. And I think it's, again, the issue of having the rough 90-minute mark of this is what the movie is gonna be. So they had to change things to make it understand, because the lore in World of Warcraft does not make sense, and there's so much of it. It's existed for 25 years. How the hell are you gonna do that? You can't. So yeah, but and that's why it's fine. It's not a great movie. It has some changes, but it had to do that. And I'm fine with it existing. It's a fun movie to watch with your nerd friends. Just
that's fair.
And shit talk. But I think that's what happens with a lot of video game movies. Just to go back to the general question, I guess, is a lot of video game movies just end up being fun spectacles you can watch and shit talk with your friends. And that's all.
And I feel like even though that they have that title of, say Warcraft or something like Tomb Raider or whatever other, video game movies are out there, even though they have that title of a video game, it doesn't mean that it's going to be exactly like the video game. So
it can't.
Something like the Marvel movies, that even though they're relating to the comics and bringing life from the comics, the movies are completely different on their own. It's a cinematic universe. It's not a comic universe. It's completely different, but still kind of similar to what they're bringing the representation from. I don't know the word for it, but yeah.
I think what you're trying to say is, as an art student, I've been taught about McLuhan and his theory of, or whatever, of the medium is the message, which is basically that different mediums have work for different things, and so you cannot look at something without you can't look at a piece of media or artwork or whatever without looking at what medium it's made for. So you can't critique a film without mentioning that it's a film.
Yeah.
You that doesn't make sense. You a painting, you have to consider how it's made. Any artwork, you have to what medium is it? So yeah, I think that's essentially it.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has to adapt to what it's fitting for, I suppose.
Yeah.
I just got some other video games that would turn into movies, and we're just going to quickly scan over some of them because we've only talked about a couple. So we've got...
That's because I don't play many video games. Got addicted to WoW. What else am I going to play?
Yeah, we'll just skim over these because I don't know if you've seen the movies or played the game. So there's one of Assassin's Creed that I've seen.
I never... I never
No?
played the games and I never watched the movie. No.
Okay.
There was a lot of controversy around it, though. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
I mean, like you said with the Warcraft one, it was alright. It wasn't like
It was
anything.
alright.
It wasn't anything fantastic or anything like that. But I found it just really boring to watch most of the time. But yeah, that's how it is, I suppose.
That's
There's
what I
also
heard.
Doom. I don't remember if you know the movie of Doom, but it had Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it.
Oh.
This is like way back in like, I don't even know, like 2005 or 6 or whatever, when he wasn't like this huge rock. He was kind of just like, you know, he
A
was
baby rock. The pebble.
yeah, he was a pebble back then. But God, honestly, I haven't seen it in quite a while, so I can't really talk much about it. But when I did watch it, I actually enjoyed it and didn't even realize that it was based on the video game until I, was a bit older. And was like, oh, this is based on, the game from like 1990, whatever it was, 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah.
There's also
Older than me.
the Resident Evil movies. Pretty sure like everybody's. Really, you haven't? I feel like everybody's.
I don't know if I have. I don't watch. See, I'm very like. I don't know. I just haven't watched a lot of movies, and I haven't played all of the games that you're supposed to play in your childhood. I guess I don't know what happened to me.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
I was just busy watching Avatar for the 10th time. I can't. I mean, what more do you want from me?
Right, we'll scan over those because it's pretty much just like zombies and blah 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 whatever. Like I enjoyed the movies. Like they're not really anything like the games, but I still enjoy watching them occasionally. But I can never get my mind around like which movie comes first and next, because it's like I don't even know. There's like 5 or 6 of them now. It's just crazy. But yeah. There's also Tomb Raider. There's some with Angelina Jolie that
I've seen those.
Ago. And then there's a new one out though, or something with some new actress.
They did make one, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one though, so I can't really talk about that.
No, I haven't. I as a child, that's an example where, just like you with Doom, I watched these movies as like a child. I don't know if probably a child. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know they were games. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I just watched. I can't remember the movies very well, but I just watched them as just movies because I didn't know that they were anything else.
Yep. Yeah. I feel like some kids would probably be the same. Like I was going to use the example of like Angry Birds, but I feel like if you go to watch Angry Birds, you've definitely played the games. Because why else would you go and watch those horrid movies? Like Angry Bird movies were just like, why?
But I think it's different these days because games are just so common. Everyone knows about them. It's just like back in the days you had to go to arcades, and then it was like mostly console games, and games weren't really like that big a thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Sorry for keeping you up.
It's fine.
It's fine. We're fine. This is fine.
Fine.
We worked so hard for this.
Gotta keep going while my internet is actually like holding up. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's different these days. Mm-hmm. Kids grow up with video games just being the norm and just being able to have them.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Going back to what people believe to be the first movie that was based on a video game was, I don't know if I've written it down here, but it was like Super Mario Bros. Or something.
Oh yeah, I never knew that was a movie.
Yeah, Super Mario Bros. And this was like 1990 something or whatever. I personally
Probably
haven't.
older than me.
Yeah, I think it's older than me as well. I personally haven't watched the movie just because I'm just like, why would I go through that torture? People say that it's completely trash. It literally
Well,
has
yeah.
nothing to do with like what Mario is all about or whatever. But
I've
I have seen a YouTuber talk about it and show like clips and stuff about it. Whose name is Diamond Bolt. If you, like a little shout out to him, but he's not part of the group up or anything. But I watch his YouTube videos and loved it. Like it's so hilarious what he like. He puts himself through torture watching these shitty ass movies, like rip off things
yeah.
of whatever. There was one called like Revengers or something, which was like a rip off of Avengers. Um, but yeah, in this one he was talking about Super Mario Bros. And I looked at what was supposed to be, what are they called, like the little gombers or something like that.
Goombas?
Goombas, yeah, Goombas, yeah. And instead of being like these little like mushroomy kind of whatever, they brown little things, they made them into like lizard creatures in the movie with like big bodies and
Why?
like tiny little heads on these big ass bodies. And I just looked at that and I'm like, who did this? Like, who hurt you?
Who gave you the green light to make this mess?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just was a complete mess, and the story was nothing like the actual story in the games or anything like that. So
Yeah.
it is definitely like one of the worst video game movies out there, I feel. And then
Yeah, definitely.
lastly, I don't know if you've seen the new Sonic movie. I haven't.
I have.
There we go. You can talk about this.
It's enjoyable.
It is
It's
after they
okay.
changed after they changed his eyes.
After they removed his horrible teeth and his wet eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Literally, why? What were they thinking? Why did they give him human teeth? I don't get
I
it.
mean, I'm glad that they put out that preview and then actually listened to they listened to the people and changed it.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
My biggest worry is, I hope the artists were paid well. Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, going through literally every part where Sonic is in and changing like his whole face.
I'll just say, with the like, what's it? Is it Justice League movie? People are like, we want the Snyder cut. I want the horrible teeth Sonic movie. Can we get that? Can we just like release it on a streaming platform? I just want to see it. I want to see what kind of mess it is.
Yeah. To be honest, that would be pretty interesting to see. Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
Fuck the Snyder cut. I want this shit. I want Sonic's horrible teeth. Come on.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, as a movie, it's definitely a kid's movie.
Yeah. Okay.
God, it has child humor and, but it's fine. I think it's honestly a good movie for children. There's a few plot holes and a few.
But yeah, don't spoil anything. But yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it. It's just it's a mess, but it's for children, and I think it's a good movie to take your child to see or to just watch with a group of friends.
Yeah. Okay. And question that I wanted to put in there was, is his name Jim Carrey, the funny guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he do a decent job in the movie?
He seems like he's just having fun.
Oh, okay.
He's just doing his thing.
Okay, cool. Okay.
They definitely built the role around him, that's for sure, but he seems like he's having fun with it.
Well, that's all right then. And then I feel like there's movies like Wreck-It Ralph that, aren't really based on, at least I don't believe that they're based on games, but they're still like a games movie. And
I think
Pixels, I don't know if you remember that, with Adam Sandler.
I don't think I watched that.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard it was very bad.
I mean, it. I wouldn't say that it's terrible. Yeah, it's alright.
Like, okay, I think we've come to a conclusion. Video games are fine.
Yeah.
Or video game movies are fine. They're okay.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. They exist. It's a massive cash grab, but it's fine. They're fine.
But yeah, one's like a Wreck-It Ralph. I loved the first one. Like that yeah, and like I think I was like what, like 17, 18 at the time or whatever, watching the first one, and still absolutely loved it. Like, I love the characters, loved the story arc and everything in it, and was just like, wow, like they've done that
It's
so
really
well.
good.
And then I don't think I've seen the
Yeah.
second one yet, where he goes into the internet or something, but apparently
I
people
haven't
didn't
either, but
people didn't like that one as much. But I feel like that's like any movies, like it probably like starts off here and then slowly gets like downhill.
yeah, I think that's the case with most of the sequels. They're not usually as good.
Yeah.
But I think what makes Wreck-It Ralph stand out is that it's a video game movie that isn't based on a video game. It's more just based on broad video games as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really smart choice.
Yeah.
Because you're not offending anyone, and you can give them a cute little look at this character, look at them, them. They're not important, but they're there.
Yeah.
You can just tell a good story and have
continue. There's a delay, so I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's you can write a proper story and tell that and just have little Easter eggs, and that's better.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I feel like that was pretty much exactly the same with like Ready Player One. I don't know if you saw that movie, but
No.
You have to watch it. What are you doing? Come on.
And it was bad.
Ah, no.
I'm a fake gamer. Take my gamer card.
So, I mean, there are some plot holes in it. Like, they are supposed to be on like these treadmills and stuff to be able to walk around in virtual reality while they've got the suits and stuff on. But then they like go down the street, and then there's people just like walking around on the like standing still on the street or whatever, and like throwing punches, blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, how are they moving in the game if they're like standing on the street, blah blah, and all this kind of stuff? They're just gonna walk in front of a car. But yeah, anyway, I feel like that movie was like really cool because they've got those like little Easter eggs and stuff in there, and then there's like a huge scene where it's just like all of a sudden I honestly have like no idea how much it would have cost to be able to get all of the like characters and stuff to be put into the movie, because obviously they have to get all the licenses and everything to actually like use these. You just like look at it and there's like 100 characters that you just like see from like all these, you know, movies, anime, other games and all that kind of stuff, just like straight in your face, and it's like, I know that one, oh my god, all this kind of shit. And the first time you watch it, it's just like, oh my god, like this is like, yeah, it was, I loved the movie. I've watched it twice, but I feel like I couldn't watch it consistently over and over. Like, that's just how I am, I suppose. But it was definitely like a good movie in my opinion anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think that also benefits from being based off a book. Yeah. Because things are just more fleshed out in a book, and it's easier to adapt a book than a video game, which is because video games, when you take a video game and make it a movie, you also take the player agency away, which is what makes it a game. Yeah. And just based off of that, the story in a video game is going to be different than in a purely visual media. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like trying to think of a way to get Avatar put in there, because I quickly wanted to talk about...
I mean, we can talk about The Last Airbender.
I didn't really want to talk so much about that, because that movie was just... Yeah.
Sad.
We just pretend that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, I was more going to talk about... I was It's gonna mostly talk about how they are going from like the animation, and they're trying to do the live action television show on Netflix or whatever it was now, and the creators were just like
Yeah.
recently off the project because of reasons.
Because of rumored reasons.
Yeah.
I have okay. My opinion on this matter is I don't want a live action remake. I do not care. The series is good. It still holds up today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a live action remake. I don't want to like. And again, there are things in animation that you can't do in like actual live action. It's gonna look clunky and we already got an example with the movie we don't talk about, but I don't want that. I don't want to see my childhood just changed.
Yeah.
The only reason I'd want it is for them to like it would be with Mike and Brian on board getting to retell some of the like it's mostly season 1 because they're really good episodes. I think an example is sorry, I'm gonna go on. I'm sorry, the wiki has turned on. The episode Imprisoned, where an earthbender is sent, or a bunch of earthbenders are sent to a fully metal prison where they can't bend and they're completely, stripped of their powers.
Yeah.
That's a super cool concept. What a fucking cool concept. God, I wish they didn't make a joke out of that episode. Because it's made for children. It's season 1 where they can't tell like it has to be wrapped up within that episode because it has to be episodic.
Yeah.
God, I want like if they could flesh those really good episodes in season 1 out.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I don't think a remake is necessary. It's good. No. It's just a good show.
Yeah, I feel like those really good animated, like TV series and movies, like friggin' the Aladdin, I think it was, Lion King,
the Disney movies,
and then all of a sudden they're like, well, you know what, we want fucking more money, excuse my language, we want more money, so you know what we're gonna do, we're gonna get like Will Smith to play the genie and all this kind of stuff, and people are gonna freaking love it because it's it's live action, blah, 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 and it's nostalgia, yeah, all this kind of stuff, and we're going to make so much money on it. And then, people just got so sick of it, like, after the first couple of movies that they made live action, and people were like, well, this is obviously a money grab, like, it's completely shit. It is.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of the remakes because I'm like, I don't want to watch them because I know that they're going to just spoil my childhood. They're gonna spoil the movies that I actually loved, which were the animated ones. And yeah, that's just how I feel about it. Is that sometimes things like this is just a money grab, and really, like if something is just like standing alone, and I don't know when the Lion King was made, like what 1990 something, and it still holds up. It still holds up today. That you really shouldn't have to remake it if it's still standing up today. Like that goes with Avatar, that goes with all the other Disney movies, like the I can't remember many other ones. There was like a mermaid one or something, but yeah, like you really shouldn't have to like remake them really. So I feel like it's just their way of grabbing more money off people, which is kind of sad, and it kind of ruins it for people like me as well.
Yeah, I've only watched one of them, and it's not good because, and I've seen a bunch of video essays on it because I love watching video essays, and it's just like with musicals, you have to like suspend your disbelief a lot to like be accepting of now they're dancing and singing.
Yeah, okay.
And that works in animation because you have to suspend your disbelief to believe that anything in animation is happening
Yeah.
and is real.
Mm-hmm.
So taking that and it just doesn't work to make live action of that.
No.
It just looks wrong, and you take the magic away. You take again, like the characters are so expressive. I've watched, so the one I watched was Beauty and the Beast. The Beast is just nagging, and he's just so annoying because he can't show personality. Where in the animation, they make him so expressive because that's what animation can do.
Yeah.
It can exaggerate things. So yeah, no. I think it's sad that people are moving away from animation, especially 2D animation. It's sad.
Yeah, I find 2D animation is... I mean, it's probably just because of it's a nostalgia thing. Like, I used to watch... I don't know if you guys have these shows and stuff over there. You probably don't, but it was like... people that live in Australia will understand, like, shows like Bob the Builder, okay? Postman Pat, Fireman Sam. Those were all awesome, like, 2D animation that I loved as a kid, and all of a sudden I'm like going over to a friend's house that's got a kid and they've got like Bob the Builder on, and all of a sudden he's like 3D, like totally completely different, and I'm like, what the fuck have they done to this? Like, why have they massacred my boy?
My precious child. Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same. But I feel like it's just their way of like modernizing everything. But
yeah, it's technologies, and it's fun to do. So yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I guess it makes sense to like as you have these stories that have been tested, they hold up, and you have this new technology that you want to play with. You can make money.
Yeah.
If you just combine them.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good, but you can make money.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a shame that people are going away from like the old animation style, unfortunately. But that's how it is, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yes. It's late.
Do you have any... well, first off, do you believe in ghosts, and do you have any ghost encounters?
I can't remember if I have any ghost encounters. There aren't any that stand out, at least. But I'll say that, like, in general in life, I consider myself agnostic. I don't know shit. I don't know anything. If there are things, cool. If there aren't, okay. I'm just, But I think, like, I do believe that we leave some sort of energy in the world as we live, and that all living things has some sort of energy, not like a spirit or a soul or anything, but just like that we leave some sort of energy. And so I think it would make sense that like, depending on whatever, that it can like linger and it can affect places that you've spent a lot of time. So a house can maybe, like, I don't know if it's necessarily directly haunted, but I think it can definitely be affected by, the energies.
That's a fair point, yeah. Yeah, I never really looked at it that way, I suppose. Interesting kind of way of looking at it. Like, over there, do they have like any local ghost stories or like monsters and beings and stuff? Like, you've got like in America or whatever, it's like the Bigfoot and Loch Ness monster and all that kind of stuff. Is there like anything over there in like Europe and that?
I mean, So this is the book I have on Norse mythology. Do you want me to just read through it?
Yeah, the whole book, please, from start to finish.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've only got about another 7 hours until the sun comes back up, but we should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be fine, right?
Yeah.
No. But like I don't think we have like directly what is they're called? What is the term for urban legends? Is that it?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think we have that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Not that I know of, but we have obviously a long history of funky creatures like a horse with 8 legs and Fenrir and Garm, and there's a bunch. They're funky. They're funky little friends.
Yeah, I feel
Thor's
like
goats.
yeah, stories
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's always pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in Norse mythology and uh Greek mythology and a little bit of Egyptian. I was kind of like a little bit into Egyptian mythology, a little bit there, but I think that was just I wasn't really interested in that until I played Age of Mythology. So
that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah.
Yeah. I obviously grew up with Norse mythology, so that's just yeah. I've been forced to know about it, where I guess that's something I realized about streaming is when I played a game, Hellblade, which has a lot of Norse mythology. There are a lot of my viewers who did not know anything about Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Which is surprising to me because it's just so normal. But then I realized, oh yeah, I'm also Danish.
Yeah, no, that's right. I feel like my interest was probably sparked through like school and like doing projects on. I think the first project that I had to do was like on Greek mythology or something, and then it just like sparked from there. And then obviously like playing the actual Age of Mythology game, I was just like instantly hooked on like all these awesome creatures like minotaurs and centaurs. Like it was just like hell yeah, like this is what I love.
Yeah.
And I love like the game, and yeah, it was just like hell yeah, like I want to know more. Like
yeah,
give me
it's
more.
Great. Give me a giant serpent that can reach around the entire world. Give me that shit. Force feed it down my. No, I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
I feel like you were saying you're Danish, so like the Norse mythology was like you said was like kind of like forced into you in a way because it's like your history kind of thing. Yeah. With me being in Australia, obviously we have like Aboriginal and all that kind of stuff, and they have their like stories to talk about. But even being in Australia, we didn't really like we learn about Aboriginals and like the invasions and all that kind of stuff, but we never really learned about their spiritual beliefs, which they literally have like a belief for like everything. I suppose it depends because like each kind of clan was a little bit different as well. Like they obviously all had their own different languages and beliefs and all that kind of stuff. So different, like they had beliefs for like rivers and like who made the stars and the sun and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was never like really, we weren't really told or talked about it much. And even now, even though I identify as Aboriginal, like I've never had those stories passed down to me or anything like that. So I feel like it's a little bit disappointing, and hopefully it's not like dying out as well. But
I will say I feel saddened that Norse mythology isn't more commonly taught about in Denmark, because I feel like that's more of our culture than Christianity is. And I think it is sad that because of And I'm not gonna shit
settlement.
on Christianity and people's beliefs because they're valid, and if they help you, then like I all for it, go for it.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think it's sad that the dominance of that has kind of killed a lot
yeah,
of other, because the same with I frequently think about how interesting it would be to see how Native Americans would have like evolved, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
and all of that,
Mm,
which is just gone, and I think
mm.
that's sad.
Yeah, because they
And
they were
I like,
similar to Aboriginals as well. They
yeah,
had
yeah,
the great buffalo and all that kind of stuff that they were really like into, and they had their own stories and
yeah.
everything. And yeah, I don't know. You don't really like get much of that apart from like in games. I know there's like a little bit about it in like Age of Empires, like 3 or something like that. They kind of like dive into it a little bit there, but yeah, I don't know. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, a bit unfortunate
Yeah.
because
And as someone who is very like proud of my heritage and the Norse mythology that we have and all of that, I think it's sad that other people can't have that same connection to it.
yeah, yeah, mm,
Obviously, you can read up on it, and I have to because I don't know a lot,
mm,
because it isn't taught as much
yeah,
these
yeah,
days.
mm,
But at least for us, it's commonly found, where a lot for other places has just been destroyed.
mm, yeah. Mm. It is a bit unfortunate, and okay, I'm gonna say something very uh contradictory. Is that the word for it? I don't know, but yeah, something I don't know. Like it's probably gonna make some people a little bit upset, but I feel that
I think, yeah.
okay, so like what? Like when were the Egyptians around? Like thousands of years ago or some shit like that. They believed that their gods were real. Okay, like Egyptian gods like Ra and all them. Um, then like the Greeks thought their gods were real, Zeus and Hades and Poseidon and the millions of others offspring that they had. Blah blah blah. Then there's the Norse mythology. They thought that their gods were real when they were Vikings and all that kind of stuff. And then, like, okay, this is gonna offend some people, but like when other ones like Christianity and all that kind of stuff started to control more of the space, I feel that you know, uh, I'm not gonna blame Christianity for it, but it kind of like pushed away the other gods and stuff, so they kind of were like, well, these gods aren't real. Jesus is real. Yeah. You know, Zeus and stuff is just mythology now. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Okay, so you have to believe in Jesus, or you can be atheist or blah blah whatever. So that's my point of view. Okay, sorry if I offend anybody, but that is my point of view. Okay. But yeah, it's kind of, and you see it in Australia, that probably like Australia and America the most, because obviously those were where okay, I'm gonna use the term
Colonialism.
I'm gonna use the term like invaded, which they
Mhm.
kind of pretty much were at that point. And like I was saying, like the Aboriginal people believed in their gods, and well, I don't know if they were gods. They were more like spirits and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And the Native Americans, which you talked about before, probably believed in their own kind of thing. And then when the settlement came along, it was just like you got to believe in Jesus and all this kind of stuff. And it's sad that we don't get taught in our own countries what our ancestors believed in. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if we don't believe it ourselves. I would still be
Mhm.
interested in learning about what Aboriginal people, um, like what they believed in, like the spirits and all that kind of stuff. Because my school that I went to was like it wasn't heavily religious, but it was kind of religious. Like we had to do like a chapel service once every week, and I think it was like in high school. They brought down a Aboriginal community, from up north somewhere, and they brought it down to our school, and they brought them down like for a couple of weeks every year, and this like Aboriginal community, okay, but their leader was Christian, and I was like, this doesn't really make sense. Like I understand that people can change their beliefs and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like, why, like, I don't know, like where's your sense of, your heritage and ancestors and all that kind of stuff? Like why aren't you connected more towards that compared to, a completely different belief that came from halfway around the globe? Like that, I feel like that's where it was no, that's where it came from, like England or somewhere. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it that much. It was like somewhere around like Europe.
I mean, you got it from the British. Let's be real.
yeah, pretty much. So, it I don't know. That's my take on it anyway. And who knows? Like another few thousand years from now, like Christianity might be a mythology down the track.
Who knows? Yeah.
Things change over time, I guess, but that's my take on it anyway. That's just because I'm atheist. I don't believe in any god. And people will be like, you're a piece of trash, blah blah blah. But like, I'm not against religion. If you want to believe in something, believe in it, but don't force your opinion on me, please. For God's sake, just let me be myself.
I'm kind of the same, where it's like, if you get value out of your religion or whatever you believe in, or your lack of religion, if that gives you something and it makes your life easier to get through, fucking great. God, I wish everyone could just have something that makes their life easier.
Yeah.
Because life is hard, and it makes sense that we seek for something that gives us meaning. So if that helps, I'd go for it. I just think the sad part is losing cultural heritage.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I would not, like, despite me loving Norse mythology and wanting to bring back pagan holidays in Denmark rather than Christian holidays, because again, that's our culture. Why don't we have that?
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Right? We still have some. We still call it Yule rather than Christmas. But I would never say I actually believe that the gods are real.
yeah, that's it. Like, even though I'm Aboriginal, I wouldn't say like the spirits are real. It would just be just be nice to friggin' learn about it a bit more.
I just want to know things.
Like, I'm in Australia. Teach me what the people that lived in Australia, believed.
Yeah.
But there's also I think people were finding like this is kind of like going off a little bit on a tangent, but they were saying something about like Aboriginal people actually invaded Australia first, because there's evidence that there were people here before the Aboriginals or something, but I haven't looked into it myself, so I cannot confirm or deny that. It's just something that I like read, something that I've read. And because it's on the internet, it doesn't mean that it's specifically true, okay? So it's just, it's just...
Everything on the internet isn't real.
Oh my god. But yeah, it was just kind of interesting to see that article. And then I was like, this is interesting, okay. Like, But yeah, anyway. That's that.
That's that. I think this whole podcast has been one long tangent, so I think it's fine.
Pretty much. And that's where we lose most of our community. They've gone now. So
goodbye.
It was
nice knowing you.
They completely hate me. Okay, awesome.
They'll take my gamer card.
Alright, so let's wrap this up, like I said before, but then we went on a massive tangent. So.
Let's proper wrap this up.
Yeah. Where can people find you, first of all? Social medias, what are they?
They can find me on all social media at Innovates, and if it's not Innovates, then it's Innovates with an extra set, because usually it's myself. I know on Twitter I had Innovates with just, my normal, how it's spelled out.
Yeah. But
then I somehow, I think I changed my username and tried to change it back, and then it was taken, and so I don't know. I should probably contact them about it. Who knows? Fair. But yeah, I took my own username is basically it, so I had to add an X instead. Okay. But yeah, I think everywhere is just Innovates.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Universal branding.
And if that's too difficult to understand, the links will just be down below anyway, so you can just click on them.
Yeah, that also works.
Easy peasy. Oh my god, I'm so awkward. Thank you everybody for listening to this podcast. Apologies to you, Innovates, for the complete stuff up that has been happening over the past couple of days. Like we said at the start of this second section of the podcast, that my internet dropped out about 30 minutes into us talking yesterday, and that was just because my internet was trash, and then we couldn't figure out what was going on today. We tried to do it again at roughly the same time as what we did yesterday, and it didn't work. And then we tried just before this on Discord again, didn't work out. And then we tried Zoom, and somehow Zoom decides to work. But yeah, I don't know. But I do apologize for the stuff around. But we finally got there.
Well, I'll apologize for keeping you up so late.
No, that's fine. I normally stay up until midnight, 1 o'clock.
Look at all my daylight outside.
Look at my curtains. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yay!
It's an awesome view.
All right.
But yeah, no. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to do this episode of the GroupUp podcast. You are a super talented artist. I know a lot of people enjoy your work and enjoy being in your streams, interacting with you, talking to you. And yeah, hopefully more people can get around you from watching this podcast. People that you may not have talked to or whatever, hopefully they can come in and help support you, because I feel like you are probably one of the more active people in the community. And yeah, it's I don't know, it's just cool to have you in there and have an actual artist in there, because there's probably only a handful of artists in there, and we need more artists. So if you're an artist, come join us, please.
Come join. GroupUp is lovely. Come join. It's not just Australians, despite the appearance.
There's probably a handful of other people from around the globe.
I'm there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
join.
Thank you very much for being on this episode of the GroupUp podcast. Do you have any final words for the listeners?
Well.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. We've lost her.
Wear your mask if you have to wear your masks.
Yes.
Be safe.
Yes. Please do that. Oh,
be kind.
Yes. Yep. So wear a mask. Be safe. Be kind. Those are the final words.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure for the most part. For when we weren't having technical difficulties. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Who I know who's going to be on next episode, because we've already booked him in episode 9. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, be ready for that, because he's an awesome content creator from Australia, and that's all I'm going to give you, so be ready for it. All right, thank you very much. Stay safe. I know, right? What the hell? It could have been from anywhere around the globe, New Zealand and Denmark or America. There's loads of other places, really. But anyway, alright, let's just finish this. Okay, bye.
Let's do it. Okay, bye.